and you're watching Acid Burn Say, and today I'm going to talk about the books that I read in January of this year. How scary is it? January's finished, and by the time I post this video, it'll be like the middle of February, because February is such a short month. So let's get on with it. I know I'm in a little bit of a different location today. See how it goes. The first book that I read this month was Virgin River by Robyn Carr. This is about a nurse practitioner who moves from LA to Virgin River, which is a small town in California. She moves there and she's just recently become a widow, so she packs up her life and decides that she doesn't want to stay in LA anymore and takes this small town job. And she meets Jack Sheridan, who is the local bar owner who has his own issues from being in the army and being in Iraq. It is a Netflix series, and I really enjoyed the Netflix series. I watched the Netflix series before I read the book. I was gifted this book for my birthday. I enjoyed it. This is the first book, and there is many other books, and I will be carrying on with the series. I did give it a 3-star. It was published in 2007, and I feel like 15 years ago, a lot of things have changed. There are some aspects in this book that I don't think I can really recommend to others because of it. There is a relationship between a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old, and a sex scene happens, and it's a bit more graphic than I would like to read about for children / teenagers. I didn't feel like I needed to know that or see that. We'll see that, read that. So I think that was a little bit problematic, and there were some other aspects that were problematic. I do want to carry on with the book series, and I definitely will. However, as I said, I definitely think there are some issues that maybe as a reader in 2007 I would have had no issue with. However, as a reader in 2023, I have a little bit of issue with. I think I was much more invested in it earlier on. The TV series stays very true to the book, and I feel like if you've watched the TV series you don't need to read the book. And actually I think Netflix did it better. I gave this 3 stars, and I think it's just because it hasn't aged well. It was very cute and very cheesy. It is a Mills and Boon book. My second book that I read was Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. This was my first Sally Rooney book, and I was not impressed. Throughout most of this book, I felt like I was missing something, that I had fallen asleep or skipped a page. And in this book, it felt like nothing really happened. I didn't feel like anything really happened in this book. This book is set in Dublin, and it follows Frances, who is at university, and she has a rich friend, and she is a poet. She ends up meeting Melissa, who is, I think, a famous writer or semi-famous writer who's older than her, and her husband is an actor. Frances is bisexual. So Frances ends up having an affair with her friend's husband, and I don't feel like anything happens. This book, I'm struggling to even really remember what happens. There was no progression, and it's one of the things that I didn't like. The characters I felt like were the same by the end. So I gave this book 3 stars. I'm gonna watch the TV series, the BBC adaptation of it, and see if that's any different and if I prefer that. And if I can understand what's going on anymore. Because there was issues with her father, and I was really worried about her father, and then it was never addressed. Nothing was fixed. My third book is Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult, and she has a co-author on this, and I cannot remember their name. I know it's Jennifer. I will put the name under the screen. This book started out as an idea that Jennifer had. She had a dream about this, about the book, and that she was writing a book with Jodi Picoult, and they posted on Twitter, and Jodi Picoult got back to her and said, then DM'd her to see what the plot was, and she really loved it, and so they got in contact and they wrote a book together. It was very much like the pact, and Jennifer actually comes out and says that it is, that she was thinking of the pact, and they did it with Jodi. Mad Honey is about Asher, who is a hockey player whose girlfriend Lily dies, and he is found holding Lily whenever her mother comes home to discover that she's died. So he is then charged with her murder. This book is set in Liv's point of view, who is Asher's mother, and she is a beekeeper in New England, which a lot of Jodi Picoult books are set in New England. And Liv happens to actually be Jordan McAfee, who is in different Jodi Picoult books. So Artemis is gone again. He is in different Jodi Picoult books. He is a lawyer, and her brother. Throughout this book, I didn't want Asher to be guilty. I felt for Asher and really didn't want him to be guilty. And it really puts you in the eyes of the justice system and everything that's wrong with the justice system, but you don't want killers on the streets. I did have a little bit of issues with the ending. I really thought going into it that it was going to be a 5-star book, but it was not. And I really wanted it to be. I really liked that they talked about bees and they showed bees and everything about a colonization. It was all very interesting. They have recipes in it that you can download if you get the audiobook or if you get the ebook. This was a 3-star for me. However, I feel bad comparing it because I gave Conversations with Friends and Virgin River 3 stars, and it makes me want to put Conversations with Friends as a 2-star because I feel like I can't put Mad Honey with the same category as Conversations with Friends. Maybe I'll give Conversations 2 stars. Yes, I give Conversations with Friends 2 stars. 2 stars. Not 3. 2. And I think Mad Honey is like a 3.5. The 4th book that I read in January was It's Not Summer Without You by Jenny Han. This is the sequel to The Summer I Turned Pretty, which I really enjoyed and was one of my honourable mentions of 2022. This book follows on where the last one ended, and it was very depressing. It was a very depressing book considering how light and lovely the first one was. The second one I was not impressed with. Hi Artemis. Hi. Hi baby. See how long she stays. But the second one I found a little bit not disappointing, just depressing, and it took a while to get into the actual plot itself to see what was going on. So I think that was really what I was disappointed in, because the first one's this really cute coming of age book that was really well written, and this one was just depressing. Like really depressing. I was like, am I reading from the same author? So that's why I gave this 3 stars. Next is Confess by Colleen Hoover. I really liked the idea for this book. I thought it was a fantastic idea. I did discover, however, that this was made into a TV movie, which I definitely would like to watch at some point. I definitely could picture the actress plays Auburn in this role, and I really like the actress. This is her. She was in Switched at Birth, so I would like to watch Confess. So the book was about a artist, Owen, who has a little mailbox and people write their confessions, their secret confessions, and he does artwork about it, and he then sells the artwork, and sometimes people buy their own confessions and sometimes they don't. And I really liked that idea. I really liked the idea of this artist who would make artwork out of other people's confessions. I thought it was a brilliant idea. And then you have Auburn, who is a stylist. At the start of the book, she is I think she's a 15-year-old girl, and you get this little like random story that you're a bit like, right, okay, why is she in Texas? What's happening? So it really makes you ask questions and want to carry on reading. And inside the book, the artwork, there is artwork in some of the artwork that, so I like that aspect. A very interactive idea. I did enjoy it, and I thought it was very easy to read and one of the better Colleen Hoover books that I've read. So I give this a 3 stars. However, it's a high 3. Number 6 is Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. And oh, I have this one. I have the book here. This was an interactive experience because this book is about a deaf songwriter called Ridge. And he lives across from a girl. He sees her boyfriend cheating on her, and so he texts her and he tells her. Whenever she ends up being without a home, he brings her in and gives her a place to stay, and he happens to be in a writing slump, and he says to her, listen, you help me write songs and you can have free rent. And so yeah, they write songs together, and Colleen Hoover wrote the songs with a artist, I think it's Griffin something. He created an album and he made all the songs so you can listen to the music as you read the book. Standing in such a weird way, she doesn't usually sit on my knee like this. But yeah, and it was really enjoyable, and I loved the idea of this deaf songwriter who plays the guitar and can feel it, and I really hope this gets made into a movie or a TV series. I do recommend it, and I have the second book. However, there is a novella in between. There's a novella in between, which I would like to read first, and I have that on hold with the library. Oh my goodness, number 7. I can't believe we're on 7. So number 7 is Crown of Midnight. You recognise this cover, don't you, Artemis? Crown of Midnight follows Sardosian. The fantasy book, and it carries on. She is the King's Champion and how she deals with the issues of being the King's Champion and her own conscience. This is the second/third book. It was a prequel with novellas in it, which I read. So I love the relationships in this book, and I especially love the romance relationship in this book, and really was rooting for them. This book ends a little bit weirdly. I did cry. Oh my goodness, there was a shock in the middle and I just cried. Oh my goodness, I started sobbing. The writing is so easy. I just keep turning the pages and really enjoying it. I think it's a brilliant book. This book I gave 4 stars to, and I really enjoyed, and I look forward to reading more of it. Number 8 was one of my most anticipated reads that I had on my video for most anticipated reads of 2023. You Must Remember This by Kat Rosenfield. This is the first Kat Rosenfield books that I have read. I had it written down that nothing really happens in this book. This book is about Miriam, who is an elderly woman who has memory issues, and her family, her daughter and family all come together at Christmas. So this book came out in January and is set at Christmas. Great marketing there. If I had known that it was set at Christmas, I would have read it next Christmas. I'm scared to say much about this book because I feel like anything I say will spoil it, and nothing much happens in this book. It was a little bit boring. Miriam is very rich. Her father hid alcohol in the prohibitions. That's what he did. I think he sold alcohol or smuggled alcohol, and that's how he made his money. And they had a place built called the Whispers, which is a house in Maine. So I give this a 3 stars. I finished it not that long ago and I really can't remember much that happened in it. I read 8 books and I have 1 DNF. I DNF'd Alan Rickman's Diaries because I listened to it as an audiobook and I really wasn't that fussed on it. It was a weird, and I didn't really like, well, like the little snippets I was given, it felt a little bit too invasive and just random, and so I decided it's not really the book for me. I may continue with it at a later date. So if we look at the books that I have for my January TBR, I think I got them all. Yes! So yay, we did it. So I read all the books that I was meant to in January, so I'm excited about that. So yeah, that's what I read this January. Most of them were 3 stars, bar one. So hopefully February will be a better reading month for me. And I read 8 books. I'm very pleased with myself. And they were proper books. They weren't like small books. They were proper books. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. And if you've read any of these books, please share your comments. So enjoy your day and thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like. And if you would like more of my content, please subscribe. And we can all enjoy, we can all have fun together. Right, Artemis? Right? And thank you for watching. Bye. You gotta say bye. Bye-bye. You gotta say bye-bye. Look, say bye-bye.